Hey friends, thanks for joining me and happy International Scrapbooking Weekend to you all. I am back with a new layout for the cut shop today, and I am going to be using the Happy Now cut file, and there will be a little bit more information about this cut file and what the cut shop is doing for International Scrapbooking Day at the end of the video. But I'm going to first start with a Cricut Design Space tutorial. I already have the Happy Now cut file on the design screen. I'm going to go ahead and insert a circle, lay it on top of the part of the cut file that I am wanting to use. I am going to hold down the shift button and click on the cut file so that way I have the circle and the cut file image selected, and then I am going to hit the slice button under the layers tab, and this is going to remove the portion of the cut file that I am going to use for my layout today. Once the cut file image is separated from the main cut file, I'm just going to drag it over to the side and then delete all of the extra that I do not need. And then once that is off the screen, I'm going to go ahead and drag the cut file image over towards the center. I'm going to go to the Edit tab and I'm going to enlarge it to 11.5 inches. Now, once it was enlarged, I liked the size of the circle, but the words within the cut file were just a little bit larger than what I was wanting them to be. So I'm going to go back over to the Layers tab and click on the Contour button, and then I'm just going to start clicking on all of the letters within that cut file, and you're going to start to see them change color, and that just means that they are going to hide when I click back onto the design screen. So now I'm just going to have a solid circle shape. So now I'm going to go back over to the other cut file image that's on the design screen, and I'm going to repeat the same process, except this time I'm going to click on those pie shapes rather than the individual letters, and then I'm going to be left with just those words. I'm going to drag those words over to the large circle image, and I'm going to right click and bring them to the front. Then I can size these words however large I want them to be. So I'm just going to play around a little bit, just try to get them to the size that I want. Now that I have them separated, I want to make that heart just a little bit smaller and move it up a little bit just so everything is symmetrical and in line with each other. So I'm going to copy and paste all of those words, and then I'm going to repeat that same process with the contour feature, except this time I am going to remove all of the words and leave only the heart. Now once that is complete, I'm going to go back over to the set of words that I have on the design screen, and I'm going to use the contour feature again to hide the heart. Now once that heart is hidden, I'm going to go ahead and go back over and drag that single heart image back over and just resize it and position it where I like it on the design screen. Now I'm pretty happy with how everything is positioned on the screen. I'm going to go ahead and change the words and the heart to white just so you can see them a little bit better. And I'm just changing that color by clicking on the image under the layers panel and then just picking the white color from the color options that they give you. So I want this to cut exactly as you see it on the design screen. So I have two options. I could either slice those words and that heart through the circular image, or I can select all and click Attach under the Layers tab. Both of those options will give you the exact same result. I chose to do the Attach just because it was one less step. I didn't have any extras that I would have to delete off the design screen. And as you can see, it's going to cut exactly as I had it on the design screen. Here's the photo that I'm going to be using today, and I'll talk a little bit more about that later on in the video. You can see that I have the cut file image on a piece of white cardstock, and I cut the cut file image on a pattern paper from the Amy Tangerine Finders Keepers collection. And I think everything that I use on this layout, including die cuts and stickers, are all from different Amy Tangerine collections. I just kind of grabbed anything and everything that I had in my stash. I found that a lot of her collections blend together very well, which is something that I appreciate. I feel like I can get more bang for my buck that way if I can kind of spread it across multiple collections. So right now I'm just trying to create different clusters in each of those pie images. I don't really know what to call those, so that's just what we're going to go with. And I want to make sure that the colors are kind of spread out evenly. So I want to make sure I have a little bit of each color in each of those pie shapes. I'm going to use my photo in the bottom right-hand pie shape. And it takes me a little time just to kind of figure out how I want to get all these layers put together. I know that I want to leave that journaling spot in the top right-hand side because that's where I'm going to place all of my journaling. And I actually ended up covering up all of the images, all of the words within that cut file except for the word hello. So all of those clusters are going to cover up the other words that are in that cut file image. And I'm going to use the word hello as part of my title. So I'm going to back it with some black cardstock because I am going to use black thickers to finish off the title. And after I had all of those layers arranged on the cut file, I just felt like the white cardstock was just too white. So I grabbed a couple different shimmers mist. The first color that I am using is No Yoking Colorings. And then I'm also going to bring in an orange color that matches those Amy Tangerine collections really well. And that is Mandarin Mai Tai Colorings, also from Shimmers. And I just want to place that color in the corners of the white cardstock. I feel like sometimes I go a little overboard with my mixed media, and that is when I tend to not like it as well. So I was really trying to be controlled with this and not get too out of hand. That packaging technique is just so fun that sometimes I add a little bit too much and I'm not always happy with the end result. But I am really happy with how this turned out. It was the perfect amount of color, and that yellow and orange blend in beautifully with the Amy Tangerine collections. So I went ahead and adhered down those pie shapes from the cut file image, and I'm going to bring my layers back in and I'm going to start working on assembling them because I was happy with how those clusters all came together. So it takes me just a little bit here to kind of get everything positioned back just the way that I had it before. I'm going to trim off some extras that are kind of hidden underneath those layers so I can save them for a future project. So I've jumped ahead a little bit and have everything adhered together in those top two clusters. And then I'm going to work on this bottom cluster. And I really didn't want this bottom cluster to be too bulky because I knew that I was going to place some thickers on top of it. So I just add a couple layers here, a couple different hearts, and then also a floral image. Now I'm trying to decide between two different sets of thickers, and I end up deciding to go with this black Amy Tan thickers. And this is one of my favorite fonts. And I actually found this at a Tuesday morning, and I'm not even really sure which collection it's from, but I just love it. I've kind of been hoarding it. I've only used it once, I think, and I've had it for quite a while. So I really liked how the font matched that word hello really well. I thought that it all blended together nicely, and it looked like it was just one consistent font when it really, the word hello is part of the cut file image. So now that I'm happy with all of the clusters, I'm going to move on to my photo. I don't add a lot of layering behind the photo. I feel like that there's already enough layering and enough color going on. So I'm just going to add a piece of vellum behind the photo just for a little bit of a matte. And there is a white border around the photo also. And that picture was actually taken very recently. I think it was taken last week or the week before, and it was on a field trip with my son. And I am just always so happy when I get to participate in those type of school events with Aiden. I do work full time outside the home, so sometimes that stuff can be tricky, but thankfully I work for an employer and with a bunch of wonderful women who understand how important family time like that is. So we usually can find a way to make it happen if there's something going on at the school that we want to attend. We all help each other out with that, and it's so nice to work with people who understand how important that is. So back to the layout, I added some black splatters using black Heidi Swapp Color Shine. I did also add hand stitching around the perimeter of that circle using black embroidery floss. I added some 3D foam to the back of the photo just to help elevate it a little bit. And then in that bottom left cluster where the title is, I did not have any of that blue color that I had going on in the top two clusters. So I just grabbed a couple stickers from a couple different Amy Tangerine sticker sheets, and I'm just gonna add those in just to make sure that I have a little bit of blue down in that corner. Now I typed my journaling using my We Are Memory Keepers typecast typewriter, and I just cut it into really thin strips, almost like tiny word stickers, and ran it through my Xyron sticker maker to make sure that the backs were all sticky. And then I'm just going to add it to that journaling spot on the top right hand corner. After I had those adhered down, I was looking at the layout and I felt like it was just looking a bit flat towards the top of the layout. So I decided to pull that camera sticker back up, and I'm going to add some foam behind it just to give it a little bit of elevation. And I'm really happy with how that looks. I'm glad I decided to do that. Now I felt like I needed to add just a little something extra, so I pull out these Amy Tangerine heart enamel dots, and I'm just going to add a couple in that top part of the layout. I started with the blue one, but it was just a little too bright, so I decided to go with the pink hearts, and I add a couple different sizes. Now these gave me some trouble. I would get them down and they weren't sticking really well, but then I couldn't get them to pick back up. I was trying to get them with my nails and they wouldn't lift, and you're gonna see me kind of have a little bit of fit here in just a minute because I couldn't get it to come up. So I end up getting it finally, and I have to add a little bit of liquid adhesive to the back of those hearts to get them to stay on the layout where I want them to be. So So once I have those hearts positioned, the layout is complete. I am going to bring it closer to the camera here in just a second so you can see it a little bit more in detail. So there you can see the photo and the hand stitching, and then you can also see the title in the layers that I have going on underneath the title, and then the 2 clusters at the top with the journaling and those enamel hearts. Now, the Cut Shop does have some exciting things happening this weekend for International Scrapbooking Day. There is currently a 50% off discount off the entire Etsy store using the coupon code NIFTY50. And then this cut file image that I used today is a freebie cut file that you can find on the Cut Shop blog. I will have all of this information posted on my blog, and I will also include a link to the Cut Shop in the description below. So you want to make sure that you head over and check all of that out so you can take advantage of this great deal. I will be back again soon with a new layout and new process video. As always, thank you so much for watching.